ESPN's exclusive coverage of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this? And by GMC Truck, the strength of experience.
We're at the Joel Coliseum in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You notice the empty seats, frozen temperatures, and freezing rain and sleet taking place outside. Florida State lineups look this way. Chuck Graham has really stepped it up during this recent spurt for the Seminoles as they've improved their record to 10-8. He is a player that will also take it to the goal. And the Seminoles, coached by Pat Kennedy, feeling much better about his team now after having Charlie Ward back in the lineup for an 8th game tonight. Now, for Wake Forest, Tim Duncan has truly been a surprise. When you consider the loss of Njai, the fact that Rodney Rogers left early, Tim Duncan has played big for that man, Dave Odom, who now has an opportunity to take his team to a 4th straight NCAA, provided they can make a run in the latter part of the year. And Trelawney Owens may be the X factor in this game.
Well, they call him Tree, and with good reason. He is a steadfast post presence. There you see his number, 16 points a game, 53% shooting, and he has been as consistent as anybody for Wake Forest, one of only 2 to start every game.
Opening tip controlled to Charlie Ward, and the Seminoles will get it to start. Our officials tonight, Larry Rose, Duke Etzel, and Andre Patillo. All weathered the storm and were able to make it here tonight.
Wake Forest starts out man-to-man. Look for a lot of high pick and rolls for Charlie Ward. Nice.
Oh, good cut by Robinson. Maurice Robinson, sophomore from Little Rock, Arkansas.
2-2-1 after the made field goal. Florida State wants to get some points off their defense. Wake Forest, on the other hand, has to make basketball plays. Out of the 2-1-2, they go 2-3 in the half court. So that means perimeter shots will be available.
Childress. That's a tray, and Randolph has been struggling a little with his shots. Some of that due to the fact that they moved him back to the point rather than the off-guard spot, switching locations with Harrison.
We talked about that at the top, Kyle. Bobby Sura has benefited from the return of Charlie Ward.
Luckman gets in the scoring column.
Luckman starting so that Andre Reed doesn't get into early foul trouble. He's coming off the bench. 2-1 since Reed and Collins have gone to the bench. And Chucky Graham and Luckman have become starters for Florida State.
Florida State with its usual zone look. Pat Kennedy always changes defense in the half court. Harrison not there, and Charlie Ward hauls it down. Nice mixture of full court pressure and zones. That's usually the rule rather than the exception from Florida State, and Lucas gets a takeaway. Childress waits for a little help. Lucas for 3.
He's a 45% three-point shooter for his career. So you have to find him and tag him behind the line.
Would you say this game is a little guard heavy? I mean, we've got some outstanding guards. Even the complimentary guards would be stars on some other teams.
Sure, we highlighted Sura and Childress at the top, and justifiably so, but that man there, Charlie Ward, and also Mark Bluken. He had a double-double in their win against Rhode Island, did Mark Bluken.
Lucas made some big shots at Cameron Indoor Stadium in their upset win against Duke. And Sura gets involved. We're tied at 6. Nice hands by Robinson. Out of bounds. Control to Florida State. Maurice Robinson. He's averaging 6.3 rebounds per game. Very active player. This is a team that lost, obviously, their low post strength offensively last year. The Florida State Seminoles. Doug Edwards now playing in the NBA. Graham rattles home a tray.
Well, talking to Kenny Williamson, the assistant coach for Florida State, he said Chucky Graham, he only played 3 minutes last year and had reconstructive knee surgery. Well, the knee is back, and so is his head in terms of mentally being confident in his ability to get up and down. and that's helped him over the last 5 games or so.
Florida State has not missed from the floor, Clark. They're a perfect 4 for 4. Luckman is rejected. Take a look at this from Stan King.
Good position, then just good extension. Luckman actually helped out King by taking it right into his hand.
Duke Edsel spots a foul. Maurice Robinson picks it up. First team foul of the game for the Seminoles. FSU scorching the nets, 4 of 6. Wake at a 50% clip themselves. And their 2 connections have been from long range.
Yeah, they'd like to see Trelawney Owens catch it in the paint area and go to work, although he can shoot it out to 17 or 18 feet effectively.
Shot clock down to 5. Harrison's penetration. Charlie Harrison. Georgetown transfer. This is a unique look that Wake Forest gives you with both Harrison and Childress, in that they can switch roles at any given time coming down the floor.
And I think it helps both of them because they share the ball handling responsibilities, and both are streaky penetrators off the dribble.
Graham rejected, but he follows his own shot, and the iron is unkind. Lucas brings it down. Saves it to Harrison. There's a foul. Graham will pick it up as we go to break. 15:32 remaining opening half. We talked to Wake Forest head coach Dave Odom about the ACC race and the postseason possibilities.
Right now, I think the slots 3 through 9 are certainly open to anybody. Nobody has anything locked up. Certainly no bids in the NCAA are locked up. And we're all trying to squeeze that little extra something out of our basketball teams.
Those words really prophetic. I mean, you look at it, Clark, you look at Wake Forest, this Florida State team that is absolutely on a run. Virginia slowing down a bit. Georgia Tech
Sliding south.
Yeah, but you know, they do that and then come back and make runs in late February around ACC tournament time. Any or all of those teams still have possibilities.
Exactly. That was just well said by Dave Odom, because that's exactly where all of the other teams are. Duke and North Carolina have moved out to separate themselves a bit, and everybody else is looking to do a little better than just tread water.
There's the kick out, and Lucas makes it happen. Duncan found it. Nice inside out move by Duncan. It's 11-9. Wake Forest by a deuce.
Boy, Sura got crunched. He got crunched down inside.
Pretty everything. Steps on Maurice Robinson.
Sometimes, folks, the most action is away from the orange. Oh, that was a little lower body root canal. Trelawney got that derriere into the mix. That's using it all.
Absolutely. Special K can relate.
Boy, I knew I shouldn't have set you up for that one. Yeah, you can't go around in that paint with blinders on. You got to be aware of where all the big bodies are. Nice find.
Oh yeah, he and Lucas are really working the ball well. Good sequence, though an empty trip for Wake Forest. A lot of touches.
So that's what you want to do. Throw it inside, probe inside. Because Trelawney is able to draw the double team, now you're able to get a good perimeter shot on 1 or 2 passes to the outside.
There's Bobby Sura's game. Sura has 5 of the Seminoles 12, and they're up by 1. Harrison and Childress line up around the arc as they spread the court nicely. Duncan, good feed from Trelawney Owens. best dish.
Yeah, that was excellent work. See, against the zone, you can throw it inside, and typically what's going to happen is when it goes inside, there's going to be a double team, a triple team, and Sura tees up another triple.
On both wings.
Yeah, he's making it happen on the baseline. But against the zone defense, you can work the inside-out action or the high-low action. Here, we're going to take a look at Trelawney Owens doing a nice job finding Tim Duncan. See, and watch how he leads him on this pass. See, there's Andre Reed. He comes over to help. And see, he leads him right to the goal. Sura late getting there. And Tim Duncan, the 17-year-old freshman, able to get his first deuce tonight. And he won't be 18 until May. Tim Duncan from the Virgin Islands. He surprised everybody with how well he's played in the conference.
Ward puts that one high off the glass. Robinson. Duncan got a hand on that one. Now Reed gets it, counted, and the foul. Andre Reed checks in and gets in the scoring column.
Florida State, an excellent offensive rebounding team. Sura has more offensive rebounds than anybody on the squad. But see, they just keep it alive. Maurice Robinson, no-go, and then Andre Reed on the second thrust. And then Owens guilty of the foul.
There's Sura. He was motivated for this game, and you think about it, this is a team that buried Florida State 90-66. As Trelawney Owens gets the slam. Florida State trying to atone for what they felt was a terrible performance earlier this year.
Well, they were still struggling to find roles. Obviously, they did not have Charlie Ward in that particular game. So clearly they were a little undermanned, and at the same time, still, James Collins was playing a lot of point guard. Not that he did a bad job, but it's not his natural position.
Reed loses it. Childress got involved along with LaRue. Rusty LaRue in the game for the first time. Childress, that's his spot. Off the back iron. Sura has numbers. 3 on 2. And on the reach, LaRue will pick up the foul. First foul on LaRue, second team foul. We talk so often about Charlie Ward and obviously the Heisman Trophy winner this year of the national champions, Rusty LaRue, a quarterback himself here at Wake Forest. In fact, he started 5 games at quarterback this past fall for the Deacons. 17-15, 2-point lead for Florida State. You get the feeling, Clark, that this is almost a neutral court because of the lack of crowd. I mean, this is a real break for Florida State to be coming in to a building that would normally be jammed to capacity for an ACC game. And because of the inclement weather, it's almost a neutral site, isn't it?
Good call.
Pat Kennedy likes his chances. They're up by 2. In the Big 8, in the Big East, we're used to seeing that from time to time, but down here in the ACC, you don't normally see this kind of scene. Along about that time, Clark Kellogg was operating the scraper as I was trying to rev up the engine to come across the street to Joel Coliseum.
Yeah, I had to go deep into the creative mind to come up with the scraper this evening.
Folks, we used the Wake Forest brochure to clean off our windshield. Look at that. Wake Forest, 60% from the floor. Both teams very crisp on the offensive end, Clark.
Well, against the zone trap that Florida State employs, you're going to have a chance to get good looks at the basket. Wake Forest has done a nice job spotting up and shooting the perimeter shot, but also probing inside and kicking it back outside for good looks.
James Collins brings it down for Florida State. So far, the Seminoles appear quicker to the ball on the boards.
You know, people think that rebounding is about size. It clearly is not. You'll find more good rebounding teams that are outsized simply because they outwit the opposition, and that's the kind of rebounding team Florida State is.
Charlie Ward.
Oh, right on cue.
Oh, Graham skying for it.
Hopping to it.
And a steal by Collins. Numbers to Graham, and LaRue will pick up the foul. not a better example of that. I've not seen one. Quickness to the ball.
That's right. Quickness to the goal. He's got yeast in these tennis shoes, fellas. Go get it, Chucky.
I'd say the ligament damage that he had is over. Wouldn't you?
History.
Harrison, a little out of control that time. And Graham brings it out of there. Florida State using their quickness to the ball for a 7-rebound advantage in the early going. Seminoles by 4. There are times when Wake Forest seems so perimeter that they just line up around the arc and there's not much movement.
You need to, if you're going to do that, then you need to be able to get to the basket off the dribble. You need some dribble penetration against those seams, so you put a little pressure on the defense.
Again, on the boards, Reed brings it down for the Seminoles.
Well, you hanging around that NBA a little bit has improved your basketball observation.
Oh, thanks. Collins, too strong. Trelawney Owens brings it down. And that's a walk. Fourth turnover committed by Wake Forest. Don't forget, we've got more college basketball coming your way. Marquette, the Warriors against the Bearcats. Antonio Winfield will be on display. And then later, it's Arizona State taking on California. Stephen Smith. Among those you'll see. Stephen Smith, I beg your pardon. Four-point lead. As Wake Forest being forced really to play the half-court game here by Florida State.
See, I think Wake Forest, their perimeter people aren't taking advantage of all the space that Florida State is giving. So you can squeeze it and get it right to the top of the circle as opposed to staying 3 feet off the circle.
Owens. Boy, Luckman, the Florida State big people have done the job.
Yeah, they've been active. Luckman and Reed both at both ends of the floor.
Luckman on the offensive end. Just a steady player. Trelawney Owens picks up a personal foul. Get the sense that maybe Wake is a little frustrated because of the dominance of Florida State on the boards.
I think so, and the point you made earlier about this being more like a neutral game, I think is something that can't be discounted. I mean, you're the home team. You expect to feed off the energy of your fans, and because of the weather, obviously not the crowd that usually would be here.
There are the numbers on Sura for the year. And as Clark mentioned, there's no category where he's not effective.
Yeah, he is a stat sheet stuffer, and there are a bunch of guys across the country that would fall into that same category. Guys that do an awful lot of everything. Grant Hill at Duke, Danielle Marshall at UConn, Glenn Robinson, Jason Kidd, who we'll see later on tonight. Clearly, he's already posted a triple-double or two.
Scott Shepard is coming to the game to replace Charlie Ward, and there's Harrison to 3. One thing about Wake, you can never distance yourself too far from them because of those bombardments.
A couple of things they really do well. They knock down free throws extremely well, the tops in the ACC, and they're also the best three-point shooting team in the ACC at 37%.
Maurice Robinson has 4. 6-point lead for the Seminoles. Now there's the penetration that opens up the tray. Count it, and a foul against Shepard. Just what you were talking about, Clark, the penetration from Harrison to set up the tray.
There's Harrison. See, he gets 3 people to chase him, and that leaves Childress in the NBA three-point land. Yeah, that feels good. knock one down and get fouled on top of it.
Against Florida State, he has been outstanding, and we told you he had a career high in the last meeting. A game won 90-66 by Wake. They're alive, down 2. 24-22, Florida State on the road, where Pat Kennedy, while coming into this league, has been so successful. What a difference personnel can make.
Oh, sure, especially when you talk about stealing games on the road in a conference as tough as the ACC.
That man has taken great advantage of the multi-sport aspect of Florida State University. Never has one program produced as many football, basketball, baseball players with the cooperative effort of all the coaches from that particular institution.
Cooperation can go a long way towards success.
Sura falling away, and a foul. Robinson picks up his second foul. There's the early look at the returns on Sura and Childress, both living up to the advanced billing.
Wake Forest really not looking to attack the pressure. And I think anytime the team is going to show you a press, you have to be very aggressive in your posture in terms of attacking. Because the opportunity is there for basketball plays, penetrations and pitches, drives to the goal against the pressing defense, and you have to be ready to make the pressing defense pay for trying to press you.
Graham now has 8, and he had to arc that one highly over the outstretched arm of Tim Duncan.
I tell you what, Charlie Ward just makes it so much easier for everybody else. He's not on the floor now, but I mean, it helps you with your rotations. It helps your perimeter guys spot up and get easier shots because he penetrates. It helps you defensively because he can pressure the ball and come up with steals.
Coming up on Saturday, the George Washington Colonials will be taking on the Musketeers of Xavier. You talk about a big-time baseliner. How about Brian Grant, averaging 16 points and 10 boards? He'll lead Pete Gillen's club. And then Colorado State against New Mexico. That game coming up at midnight. Ryan Yoder leads the WAC in assists and a 93% clip at the stripe. Trelawney Owens comes back into the game, and Charlie Ward, who brings an air of confidence also to this team that they did not have in January, back on the floor.
It just oozes out of his pores. I mean, his success, his demeanor, it all equates to quiet confidence and leadership.
Andre Reed picks up the foul. 16th foul against Florida State.
Well, the last couple of trips, as you take a look at what Charlie Ward has meant as a starting guard to Florida State throughout his career, the last couple of trips, Wake Forest has done a nice job putting their body between rebounders and drawing over the back fouls on Florida State. And that's going to be key throughout how well they're able to control their defensive board.
Lucas hits another three-pointer. He has 9, all of them from three-point range. 27-25. Seminoles' largest lead has been 7 in the early going. High lob to Reed. He's fouled. Duncan will pick it up.
He didn't think so. He's blocking 3 shots a game.
Dave Odom said that's awful. Way to work the officials, Dave.
Let's take a look at this one. In the slow-mo variety, that's all pumpkin.
Yeah.
All pumpkin. Andre Reed
Not impressed.
will get 2 free throws that he probably shouldn't be getting. And he's played much better since he's been coming off the bench the last few games. And I think, again, I mentioned it earlier, but he had a problem getting into early foul trouble. And by not starting, I think he's a little more relaxed and a little freer coming off the bench, not worrying about picking up an early foul.
You see the numbers going up. This is a young man raised in New York City. His family moved to Miami. He didn't play organized basketball until he got to Miami. So until high school, he had really not picked up the game. Florida State by 3, 28-25. Travis Banks is coming to the game, and Solani Owens steps out to get the deuce. He has 4, and it's 28-27. We talked about Owens being the X factor. For him to be so, he may have to step out. Sura rejected. And defensive spots the ball going out and belonging to Florida State.
Sura gets a little help there from Luckman, and then
Lucas tried to lobby the other way. Good call by Duncan.
Boy, that's a shot, Luckman. Kirk Luckman had a look at it after he pump faked the initial pass.
Shot clock at 4. We've got a foul off the ball. Reed picked it up again. Well, boy, both Reed and Robinson picking up fouls off the ball. 17 fouls now against Florida State, and with 4:39 remaining, they'll be shooting the bonus. Look at that. He's fouled out 8 times already tonight. He has 2. We've seen some players this year, Clark, that have picked up careless, needless fouls that really have hurt their team. You know, you've got only a few low-post players. You've got to be out there for your teammates at the end of the game, and we're into February now.
Sometimes a slip in concentration, and every now and then you'll get a 5-and-dime call that hurts you. But more times than not, it's just a matter of concentration waning.
One of the more unheralded players in the ACC, Tim Duncan. What he has meant to this team.
Interesting story about how Wake Forest got him. Chris King, who's now a member of the Seattle Supersonics, went on a basketball playing junket to the Virgin Islands, saw this young fella and said, "Where are you in college at here?" He said, "Nowhere." He came back and told the coaching staff about him, and lo and behold, here's Tim Duncan playing well for Wake Forest.
Judd Graham has 11 after that three-pointer. Yeah, you're right. Duncan actually was seen playing on a grass basketball court in the Virgin Islands. Lucas. Childress is, if he's not hitting them, he's finding someone that can. 32-31, the Demon Deacons have taken the lead.
And what you've got now is that Florida State is going to have to make some adjustments in their zone D. They're going to have to get out on the perimeter shooters.
Three-point shot has been the prevailing offense as Reed picks up another one over the back. That's just what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, in that situation there, you've got to be careful, but I mean, as a former offensive rebounder, those are tough to swallow. I mean, they both go up. Because he's behind and he's bigger, I think that foul is whistled. I didn't see much contact there.
Robinson coming back into the game.
But it's hard to put on the brakes, Tim, when you're going to the offensive boards, even when you've got 2 fouls, when you feel like you've got a chance to get one. It's tough sometimes to pull back.
It has been a perimeter game. Guard heavy for production. Look at that. Wake Forest 58%. Florida State not shabby. And there's Graham again. The feed from Charlie Ward.
Well, he's got a smooth stroke, great elevation on the shot, and again, playing with an awful lot of confidence lately.
11 lead changes here in this back and forth first half. Seminoles by 1. Childress. All night long. Graham didn't get there in time, and Randolph has 10.
You wonder if Florida State will go to a man-to-man at any time. I mean, they're just teeing up the 3.
Florida State played man-to-man primarily in the earlier meeting. That may be the reason why they scrapped the idea tonight. There's a steal by Childress, and he draws the foul.
follow-through. And he signals touchdown.
James Collins picked up that foul for Florida State. And Childress toes the line. He's 3 for 4 from three-point range in this game.
Yeah, I think one of these teams has to determine, and I think it has to be Florida State, they have to disrupt things. Wake Forest in too much of a rhythm offensively in the last six or seven possessions. But Pat Kennedy electing to stay in the zone. If you do that, then it just has to become a little more aggressive.
Childress not there. Duncan seems to be in the low post, very quick to give it up. It will be Wake Forest ball. The ones that are here are enjoying it, thank you. Wake Forest with a 3-point lead, 2:21 remaining in the first half. Tim Brando, Clark Kellogg, Randolph, Childress airing it out, and the threes coming very easily for the Demon Deacons. And with that last one, he tied Jeff Lebo for ACC career leaders in three-point field goals. Dennis Scott from Lethal Weapon 3 fame leading the way. And, of course, Rodney Monroe, 1/2 of Fire and Ice. And Bobby Hurley in third. And Childress, 3 of 4 tonight from three-point range. And in the last 6 games, he had been shooting a paltry 26%. And Dave Odom really gave credit to that based on his having to move back to the point.
Sure, that's tough. I mean, that position change is very detrimental to a guy that looks to score and is capable of scoring big numbers when he has to think about setting up the offense and distributing the basketball.
Wake Forest with its largest lead. I mean, this is Florida State opened up a 7-point lead at one point, and there's Childress. No one checking him at the arc, and even he is saying it's too easy, guys.
And you guys better find me. It'll be like this all night long. And I think he's exactly right. They're getting every kind of look they want at the three-point line.
Childress past Ward draws the block. First foul on Charlie.
Look at how he explodes and accelerates right there. Turns on the jets and gets a shoulder in front of Ward and able to draw the foul. But he's as good as anybody I've seen in college basketball at taking one more dribble and then exploding into another gear and getting an advantage against the defensive player. I don't think he does that enough. I really think he's so quick off the dribble that he could get to the basket whenever he decided to.
I agree with you. And you know, we've given him accolades tonight, but across the country, Clark, this young man is really underpublicized.
Yeah, he's undersung. You think he's a candidate for proper props, possibly?
I really believe that.
Well, you've sold me. We'll see what we can do.
Ward knocks home a three-pointer.
Charlie Ward.
I'll call Saunders tomorrow. Make sure you do it next week. I know Big John will take care of it. Coming up at halftime, we'll be going to the studio. Chris Fowler resides there tonight, along with Digger Phelps. Demon Deacons by 4. Under a minute in the half. As I mentioned, it's Chris and Digger with the Delta Faucet halftime report. Among the items of interest, Maryland and #1 North Carolina in the ACC. Louisville taking on South Florida. And we've been talking about guards. How about the kid? All coming up at halftime.
He's the real deal. He is the truth, as they say. Can handle it, score it, defend, and plays extremely hard. Overpowers just about every point guard he faces. 6'4", 205. He's hard to handle.
Luckman gets the body from Duncan, draws the foul, his second.
Well, as we look ahead to the second half, I think the tempo is going to have to be changed by way of defense either way for one of these teams to come out on top. So I think Florida State has had a fairly easy time getting into their sets, although Wake Forest has been a little more active the last 2 or 3 minutes. And that man and his staff are going to have to look at adjusting the 2-3 zone to negate some of the good three-point shot looks that Wake Forest has been able to get in the first half.
40-38. The Wake lead is 2. Luckman has 6. 10 seconds the differential between the game clock that you see and the shot clock.
Florida State man-to-man for this possession. They don't want to give up a three-point shot here.
Shot clock under 9. Childress, oh, that's sweet. 17 points for Randolph Childress.
Like honeydew melon right off the...
Ward, not there. We're at halftime. A nice run by Wake Forest. Their lead is 4. And I'd say the second leading scorer is trying to make a move on the leading scorer in the ACC. He's outscored him by 8 points to this point. We'll be back with more of the second half, but right now let's get to the studio for the Delta Faucet Report and Chris Fowler. Chris?
Tim and Clark, thank you. The Seminoles once again not playing the great defense. Coming up on the Delta Faucet Halftime Report, Digger Phelps will join me. We'll talk about whether Jason Kidd might be the best guard in the Pac-10 ever as far as an all-around player. Also, highlights coming up. Carolina in action, and so is Louisville when we continue from the studio. Right now, the Demon Deacons a 4-point lead on the Seminoles.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. ESPN's exclusive coverage of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Payne Weber. We believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships. And by the great taste of Diet Pepsi. You've got the right one, baby. Uh-huh.
Cold and sleet and snow, and we may be a little late getting home. Here in Winston-Salem, where we have a 42-38 score, the Demon Deacons leading the Seminoles. We are at halftime. Along with Clark Kellogg, I am Tim Brando, and we touched on it at the end of the half. Some of those three-pointers coming awfully easy for Wake Forest. Pat Kennedy's been known to make a few defensive adjustments a time or two.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he went into anything junky, if you would, but he might. He might go to a diamond and one, but if they stay in the zone, they've just got to be more aggressive on the perimeter. Don't give Childress the easy looks for the threes.
We're watching Florida State play basketball tonight. They made some national news earlier today. That's right, Bobby Bowden getting his opportunity to present a jersey to President Clinton, who recognized a certain other player.
One of your teammates who isn't here with us today, but I'd like to recognize Charlie Ward, of course, won the Heisman Trophy. But right now he's bouncing a different kind of ball as a point guard on your basketball team. I might say that I think my basketball team from Arkansas did a pretty good job last night. I hope some of you saw it.
Did you notice the faces behind Clinton? They weren't terribly impressed with that line, were they? Charlie Ward, though, you talk about an unselfish young man. He is a better person than he is an athlete, and that says it all.
That's going a long way, and that's even more important. You're going to be a person far longer than you're an athlete, and the qualities he possesses as an individual, a credit to his parents, his family, his own discipline and hard work, and you love to see it.
And the commitment that he shows by not being there today and being here for this basketball team, that speaks volumes too, doesn't it? By the way, President Clinton is a huge basketball fan.
Obviously.
Every time the Hogs take the floor, he is near a television set. And he should be proud of the way Nolan Richardson's Razorbacks played last night against Kentucky. Childress and is rejected by Duncan. Childress spots up for the tray. Jelani Owens gets it back outside.
Man, that was like found money. That ball just came right to Owens.
Sura did not come out to check Charlie Harrison, and he said, okay, I'll finally take it.
Well, unless Florida State makes an adjustment with their perimeter defense, then Wake Forest is going to tee them up from behind the arc. They're the best three-point shooting team in the conference, and they've already made 10 for the night.
The lead is 7. Owens. 9-point lead. And Pat Kennedy says, well, we better discuss defense again. Only a minute 40 deep. It's a 9-point lead. Wake Forest has its largest lead of 9, 47-38. Statistically, in the first half, the difference really, the launches from beyond the arc and the makes from beyond the arc.
That's the story, Tim. +3 in terms of three-point field goals attempted and made by Wake Forest, and they've already knocked down one early in the second half.
Randolph Childress picking up where he left off in their earlier meeting when he had a career high of 36 points. Foul spotted. Charlie Harrison picking it up. That's his first foul.
Boy, Temple having a tough time with Duquesne. Well, I think Charlie Ward may need to be a little more offensive-minded. They like to run some high pick and rolls for him. He has quickness and strength to penetrate and then finish inside.
That's a driving, slashing indication of what he'd like to accomplish in the second half.
Let's see what they do defensively. That's where the adjustment has to be made. Let's see if they'll be a little more aggressive. The last jump shot that Jelani Owens got, nobody was near him and no hands were up on the shot.
You know, it was early in that sequence when we saw the foul, Clark, but it had the look of a triangle and Ward on Childress.
You may have called it.
Obviously, off any inbounds pass, that would change the defensive initiative, but it had that look before the foul off the ball.
And really, defense, I mean, you can play a variety of defenses, but if you don't bring energy, enthusiasm, and effort to it, it doesn't make any difference what kind of defense you play. And that's what's been lacking, I think, from Florida State. They just haven't really been aggressive enough with the defense they play. The zone isn't a bad defense, but if you're not on perimeter shooters, then it looks soft.
Harrison, shot clock goes off. That will be a violation. Davey Odom's club. Very effective, but not finding Childress this time.
Well, he was all the way on the other side of the floor. The skip pass can be effective, but that time he wasn't seen.
Graham with the jump stop. Luckman keeps it alive. And another nice soft reject coming from Tim Duncan. Boy, he just quietly makes plays on the defensive end.
Well, he's quick off his feet, and he has excellent time. You see, Luckman is about to release this, then he goes and gets it without foul.
Luckman missed a couple of chippies there.
Oh, what a nice look.
Luckman slaps it away. Deflected off Duncan. It will be awarded to Florida State. Look at the number of blocks, and the thing you have to love about that is that at 17 years old, he doesn't swat it out of bounds. He softly knocks it away to give his teammates an opportunity for the turnover. 47-40 as they try to work a pick for Ward. Charlie a bit ugly off the front iron that time. Well, Charlie is a dealer. He's more prone to make passes than look for shots, and they're asking him to be more effective as a scorer this year simply because they don't have the arsenal they once had down low. And right now, Pat Kennedy needs any help, whether it's from Ward or somewhere else. They're 1 of 9 to start the second half. helping Larry Rose.
And Mark Lucas did the same.
Make the call. Dave Odom has a basketball family. His younger son Lane is on the staff at Alabama under David Hobbs. A chance to see him earlier this week. Owens.
See, he's been able to take that little 15-foot shot the last 2 or 3 possessions. That time he ball faked, used one bounce, and got right to the dotted line for a higher percentage shot.
Extending his defense on the perimeter. Surah, that's a mismatch. But he short arms it on the baseline. Good move by Childress. Oh, what a sweet move. Can't finish. Well, he blew past Surah with a nice dribble. A dribble drive. Lucas congratulating him on it. Don't forget, coming up, NCAA basketball tonight, Marquette against Cincinnati at the Shoe, Antonio Winfield. What a player he is. And following Sports Center, the Sun Devils against the California Golden Bears. Stephen Smith beat Cal with a buzzer beater earlier this year. All of that coming up on ESPN. Maurice Robinson picked up the foul. That was his third. Childress with a nice dump down to Owens. Just didn't finish.
That was a heck of a catch, too. That pass had some steam on it.
Surah likes this matchup with Lucas. He'll draw the foul.
Well, I would look for Pat Kennedy to go to a few more isolations for Surah and maybe even Charlie Ward. Try to get those guys to penetrate and get into the paint area.
Lucas picked up his second foul, or his first foul, I beg your pardon, second team against Wake Forest. 5 minutes gone here from the Joel Coliseum in Winston-Salem. Tim Brando and Clark Kellogg, happy to have you with us. The first of 3 tonight on ESPN.
See, I think Charlie Ward could squeeze a little more space against the defense.
Surah knocks home the tray. He was running Lucas off the ball that time to work free.
Well, he talked about that earlier. He talked about a little bit. We talked to him, and he talked about being able to move off screens and get himself free inside. Thinks that's one of his greatest strengths.
Childress again counted in a foul. Trelawney will take that pass any day.
Penetration always creates inside opportunities. Good hang time here by Tree Owens. Trelawney using that big body and suspending it, and there was the contact by Surah, and he knew he was guilty.
We touched on the guard. Trelawney Owens on his way to a double-double, Clark. 11 points, 9 boards. He'll take a well-deserved rest as Travis Banks comes in for him.
Well, he's really been steady. You can book anywhere from 15 to 20 points a night and 6 to 12 boards a night from Trelawney Owens. And I'm sure Dave Odom appreciates that consistency because as a coach, you know what you're going to get from him every time out.
Graham, a leaner.
He gets up so high.
15 for Chuck Graham.
That there's no way you can bother.
He's been nagged not only with a torn ligament that damaged him last year, but he's had foot problems as well that he's had to ward off during the course of the season. Lucas left open again. Just way too easy. Luckman could not fight through the pick. 5 3-pointers from Lucas to account for all 15 of his points. Biggest lead of the game. It's double digits now for Wake Forest. Florida State will trigger it in underneath their own hoop.
See, there's a couple of ways you can negate the three-point shot. One is defensively you don't allow the look. But at the offensive end, what you can do is maybe go inside a little more, draw fouls, and get yourself to the free throw line, and you have a chance then to negate the effectiveness of the three-point shot. But Florida State is not even doing that at their offensive end, not drawing any fouls. Boy, must have heard me chanting over here.
Scooter Banks picks up that foul as Sura throw him to the basket. Trelawney Owens will come back in. I mean, the breakdown on this team from three-point range is magnificent. Look at that tonight. Blucas, Childress, Harrison all making strong contributions, and LaRue, who's got the best seasonal average, has thrown up the only offer.
Yeah, Blucas is a 45% career three-point shooter. Childress is a 42% three-point shooter for his career. So they're not doing anything out of the ordinary for them.
Sura coming off a 23-point effort in Saturday's win against Virginia. You get the feeling that he is going to take a lot of shots the rest of the way.
I would think so. I think it's important for he and Charlie Ward both to try to get some penetration looks. Because anytime you're playing from behind, you want to be able to score with the clock stopped, although there's still plenty of time now. But, you know, as this lead hovers around 9, 10, 11 points, at some point in time, you got to start scoring with the clock stopped.
During the time in which Florida State eased out to a 7-point lead, they were winning the battle of the boards. Well, the boards have not been a factor because Wake has been making baskets.
There have been no boards.
Harrison. Sura brings it down.
Could have numbers here.
Ward finds Graham. Good find. Charlie Ward with the skip pass off the break. Good look by the QB.
Well, that time they defended, boarded, ran, and converted.
He's a dealer. Now he's trying to be a defender.
Notice now Florida State man to man. Let's see how the tone changes if the three-point shot is as available now as it has been throughout.
Childress gets away on the curl move.
Beautiful. Little banana cut. Take what the defense gives. He's had the three-point shot all night long. They go man, and he comes off a down screen and curls right into the heart of the paint.
57-49. Demon Deacons by 8. They led by 4 at halftime. Graham. Reed claiming the offensive board and then losing it. On the floor, save to Charlie Ward. Now numbers for Surah. He'll pull up for the tray.
Great hustle by the big fella. He threw that big frame down on the floor to save the orange, and his team gets a triple out of it.
Now, you might have to remember that. That's a big, big turnaround. The 2 or 3 that could have been for Wake versus the 3 that brings them to within 5.
Tim, do you notice, though, how the intensity is picking up a little bit because Florida State has gotten out of the passive zone. They've become a man-to-man team now. And just by virtue of doing that, they're going to be a lot more aggressive, I think. And that's going to change the tone of the rest of this game.
Luckman will pick up the foul. That's his second. Freshman from Medford Lakes, New Jersey. We talk so much about Duncan's play. Luckman, not spectacular, but steady. We'll be back. Demon Deacons by 5.
MCI takes you to the Dean Smith Center. The top-ranked Tar Heels trying to tie Duke for first in the ACC. Off the miss, the Heels are running. Watch Jeff McInnes. Nice lead pass to Wallace. Gets it back to Donald Williams, who returns tonight. Heels by 16. And Temple avoids the monster upset 6 seconds ago. Jason Ivey's layup wins it, guys.
Wow. Thank you, Chris. Here, Bob Sura's play picking up. You know, he talked about the strength of his game with us earlier today.
I think a big asset of mine is the way I move without the ball. I tend to, come off screens well and cut back door well and just move well and get open shots when I don't have the ball.
There he is, coming off the down screen, stroking it nicely.
Surah, his numbers now 9 points in each half to register the 18. And he has now brought his team as close as it's been since halftime to 5.
Boy, Reed and Duncan getting to know each other on that right block.
Rusty LaRue is in the game. There's the dump down to Owens.
Nice help by Reed. Boy, if you weren't watching the ball that time, and I was kind of locked close, guys. That was a good defensive series by Andre Reed.
There is a physical advantage that he brings on the floor against Wake Forest when he's out there.
Well, at 6'11"-ish and 250-ish, it's hard not to be a physical presence.
Luckman walked, trying to pierce through a double team in the paint. What a nice career for that man, Pat Kennedy. 8th year now at FSU. Assistant coach to the late Jim Valvano at Iona, then head coach there, very successful, and now at Florida State. Had an opportunity to go to Tennessee, turned down that opportunity 4 years ago to stay at FSU. I think he had an idea he was going to have some great players and maybe go into the ACC.
Yeah.
Sura leaning over LaRue. He wanted a foul that time. He's going to ask Duke Edsel for it, but it falls on deaf ears.
Well, I think Sura had his mind made up before he recognized where the defender was. Sometimes you come off screens and you're already thinking about pulling the trigger and you don't give yourself a chance to react to what the defense is doing. He was bodied up pretty good there. Maybe should have caught it and put it on the floor. See, take a look. That's Rusty LaRue. See, he chested him up pretty good. I think it was a good no call.
Yeah, and the problem really was that Luckman couldn't get him with a pick. Late getting over there. Duncan lost it. Last touch by Florida State.
You know, one of the things that Kenny Williamson, the assistant coach, talked about Florida State needing to do was score off their defense. Well, that has been a non-entity tonight. No numbers, no points off their D.
There's Kenny Williamson.
What an engaging guy he is. There he is, working, diagramming.
That is a really nice staff. That's Dave Zimroff by his side. Zim should be credited for much of the talent that's been recruited through the years for Florida State to make this an outstanding program, one that made it to the Final Eight last year. Out of New York, down in Tallahassee now. Collins gets in the passing lane to bother Blucas. You're right about Florida State's defensive tenacity. Whether they get a stop here or not, the chances are a little tougher now for Wake. Childress.
Can't give him daylight at all. You must make him dribble it.
22 for Randolph. Under 9 to play, an 8-point lead for the Demon Deacons. Luckman flashes high and then gets the foul.
Well, I've been impressed with Luckman's work. You made mention of it. Not spectacular, but steady, and he's certainly been that. Good footwork inside.
Neither of these big men, and both of them very young, both freshmen, they just don't make dumb mistakes down low. Luckman staying with it. That's a nice play by Wake. And Duncan again comes up big.
Good penetration and find by Sura. And then Luckman tries to get it up. But look at the timing and the reach and the extension by Tim Duncan. And the held ball belongs to Florida State.
Luckman leaves the game. Nice alley-oop for Reed from Collins. But again, Duncan gets in the way. So on the floor with Charlie Ward, Collins, Sura, Robinson, and Reed. Good pass to Sura. Counted and a foul. Robinson really found him in the paint.
That was an excellent cut and an on-the-money pass from Maurice Robinson. A little banana cut. See, watch the curl there. There it is, right there. And then the strong move to the cup. Uses his body beautifully to keep Duncan away from the shot block. Let's see. Oh, just a little bit of a touch, but Sura liked how that felt. Excellent movement without the ball. The Florida State's got to do more of that, Tim. I think they've got to take advantage of their quickness, get inside a little more.
Larry Rose spots a hand check. Pat Kennedy doesn't like that one at all. Collins picks it up. Says, all right, you're going to call that. Don't hand check anymore, fellas.
That's the way you deal with it. Adjust accordingly.
Works past a Blucas pick. Off the back iron. Owens kicks it out. Oh, what a look to Blucas. Owens. And Reed retrieves it for Florida State. 3 good looks for Wake Forest that time. Collins. Reed. Robinson the loose ball. Now, this is the area where Florida State can dominate.
When it becomes a helter-skelter game and they won't blow the whistle quickly, this team can really attack the offensive backboard. They just pounded it that time.
There'll be times when Charlie will arc what looks to be a bad shot high off the backboard. Folks, he just wants to start the...
That's right.
He wants to start the pogo stick.
That's right.
I mean, that's it'll go in the stat column as a poor shot, but it's not. He just wants to get the pogo sticks working. 5 on the shot clock. Childress. Long rebound to Reed.
Well, Reed's done a nice job on the boards.
Seminoles could cut it to 2 or 1 with this possession. Sura, right by LaRue. Softly off the window. 22 for Sura. The big-time guards have come to play tonight.
Well, he's showing us everything in that bag of moving without the ball trick.
Owens steps out. And that is something that is in the scouting report on him. He can step out and knock him down from 15 feet.
Florida State guys, and I'm wondering if they're not a little winded. They've really gotten after it defensively the last 5 minutes.
Childress just lost his dribble that time, kicked it away. And this TV timeout could not have come at a more opportune time for Sura and company. We keep telling these fans we will not give them Union Scale for giving us promotional material, but
they just like having a chance to do it.
Just to be on. Marquette and Cincinnati is coming up next on ESPN. And as we told you at the top of the show, this game is guard heavy.
It certainly is. Take a look, 43 points from the Florida State backcourt, and you've got 45 from the Wake Forest backcourt. And the 2 guys we highlighted at the top, Randolph Childress and Bob Sura, have stepped it up in a big way. Childress a little quieter here in the second half. He has 17 at the end of the first stanza. Bob Sura, though, has really turned it on of late.
The cumulative numbers from three-point range in this game, 21 of 37 for both teams, a whopping 57%.
That's stroking it. But early in the game, and up until the last 5 or 6 minutes, really, easy shots came a dime a dozen. Now the defense has picked up, especially at Florida State's end.
Well, a full court pressure now coming for Childress from Charlie Ward.
Boy, Graham's been really solid, stroking the ball nicely. He's got great elevation on that shot. And you just can't bother it unless you're 6'7".
This is fun to watch. Childress trying to work free of Ward off the ball. He's got it now, though.
Well, look at Maurice Robinson and Trelawney Owens. Left part of your screen. Boy, nice extra pass.
Harrison. Swinging around the arc. And Harrison has 11. Just when you begin to focus, as Charlie Ward did, on Childress, Harrison will step up and bury you with a 3.
Well, that was just a good example of making the extra pass by Wake Forest.
penetrate this time. Not there, lost out of bounds. Last touch by Florida State. It'll go to Wade. Charlie a little upset with himself there. 2 cracks, and he came up empty. We'll be back with 3:54 left on the clock.
Wake Forest +5. We're just under 4 minutes. What an excellent example of making the extra pass. Lucas inside to Duncan. Now Charlie Harrison is the farthest guy away from the ball. There he is right there. This pass is going to come back out from inside to Childress. Penetration, kick to Lucas at the top, and then good spacing by Harrison. And folks, that is beautiful basketball.
He's had to give himself up at times for this program, too, playing the point guard, which he's more of a natural 2 guard. And now, as a player that can augment the style of Randolph Childress, Dave Odom's doing a great job of utilizing both of them. Neither of them would be the typical point guard variety. One a lead guard, one a 2 guard. And he's getting the most out of both of them.
And he doesn't get enough credit for the job he's doing. Because when you talk about juggling guys in positions that they aren't comfortable with, what Dave Odom has done is he's tried to play to their strengths and allow them to do the things that they can do while not looking to make them do too much of what they're uncomfortable doing.
And this style, this tempo, an offensive scheme, not something that Wake Forest basketball was about until they became the prolific players offensively for this year's squad. I mean, he's been more of an inside, half-court, get it into the Rodgers type coach for some time.
Yeah, personnel dictates where you throw the orange.
You bet. The years he spent under Terry Holland, well documented the style of play he normally would play.
Now they get another 35 seconds. And this is where Wake Forest is tough because they're an excellent free throw shooting team. Childress, one of the best in the league. Actually, I think he's second in free throw percentage in ACC play.
Reed checking in for Luckman. Charlie Ward picked up his 3rd foul. It happened prior to the shot.
Take a look at Chucky Graham, really shadowing, actually grabbing and wrestling Randolph Childress. And anytime a guy is that close to you, you want to try to beat him off the dribble.
At the line, second in the ACC, Randolph Childress.
Had a tough night tonight, though.
He has.
Only 4 of 7, well below his normal rate of accuracy.
Not as tough as the Heisman Trophy winner, though. Charlie struggling, 1 of 8 from the floor, has 3 points, does have the 7 assists. That pretty much sums it up. I want to make a point about Charlie Ward, though. He is unlike any other player that Pat Kennedy has because of the time that he has to spend with the local media, with some kids. He was with some kids today, cut a promotional announcement for a syndicator of college basketball in this region of the country. They had him wearing a hockey mask out here. And always says yes. Always says yes to everyone. Very giving of his time. He may be thinking about the time he may have spent at the White House, though, the way things are going now. It has been a difficult night for him, and trying to check Randolph Childress can make for those types of evenings. 2:33 is left. We'll be back. That'll make you homesick, huh?
Yeah, certainly.
Oh, I tell you. She's enjoying it. Braving the cold weather out here with Dad. ACC standings will tell you the importance of this game. Duke and North Carolina, as we mentioned, distancing themselves from the rest of the pack. Virginia struggling with their shot, as you and John Saunders found out last night at Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh. Maryland, Wake Forest, right there in the middle of the pack, and you cannot rule out at this point Clemson, Florida State, or Georgia Tech. I mean, those are all teams that could get on runs and win 3 or 4 in a row, or lose 3 or 4 in a row.
It could go either way. Tough tough possession last time for Florida State. They were undecided as to what they wanted to do. Matt Kennedy was calling a play, then Charlie Ward called one, and ultimately they bounced it out of bounds without a shot.
Childress runs away from Ward and draws the foul.
See, this is where they're really dangerous. Again, I said it earlier, but they shoot the ball so well from the free throw line, and he's so quick off the dribble. See, look at this. Who do you foul?
Yeah.
I mean, the percentages say Tim Duncan, but he's 74%.
They're a great front runner. You get a lead with that kind of shooting percentage at the stripe, and 6 points can feel more like 12.
Exactly. Well said, TB.
James Collins picked up that foul, his third. A little under their normal average tonight.
Partly due to the misses that Childress
Yeah, you're right. But it's crunch time now. Normally that changes once we get under the 3-minute mark.
Yeah, I'd have no problem wagering that he'll make more. He'll make 9 out of 10 down the stretch for him. See, Florida State can't be too casual. They've got to hop to it and get busy. Penetration for a pitch and a 3, or trying to drive inside for a foul.
Graham for 3. Got it. 68-63, and Chuck Graham has 23 points.
See, this possession here, you need a defensive stop and a board. You don't want to bail them out with a foul here. Still enough time. If you can hold them and rebound and get a score at the other end, you're in great shape going down the stretch. But you have to defend and you must board.
This is the time in the game when Dave Odom says, all right, get out of the way and let Childress get it done. Just let my guards take me to the promised land. Graham again. Luckman trying to keep it alive, pulled down by Randolph. Childress. That last one by Randolph may have been the coronation.
1 minute. That did it.
Well, you have to foul at this point.
Yeah, but you don't want to foul the guy with the arm.
Yeah, Charlie Ward will pick up his 4th. Have to stop the clock at this point with 50 seconds left.
Boy, did you call this one, Tim. Coming off the screen, there's Blucas. Nice screen. And he's got that kind of time at this stage in the game. Nothing but rope.
You know, he earned his stripes with me when I saw him launch a 3 at Cameron Indoor Stadium with Grant Hill checking him and down 2 in the closing seconds. I mean, that's a strong move. and Dave Odom just said, go ahead, take it. And it was almost a double take by Randolph, thinking, wait a minute, are you sure? Sura can't get it to go. And that should do it. Sura will pick up the quick foul. 36 ticks remaining and an 8-point lead, and Randolph is all smiles. 8 for 15 from the floor, 6 of 9 at the line. It won't be a career high, but
he likes to see the Seminoles, doesn't he?
Oh, he really does.
25 points per game in 3 meetings before tonight. No damage to that average.
Bob Sura had his moments during the second half, but they've been taken away here in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, I really think Florida State, by expending so much energy when they got behind and going into the man-to-man defense, they lost a little bit offensively. They had a surge where Surah got inside and got it going, but they never really established a good rhythm and any good continuity at their offensive end.
There's the lineup, folks. Yeah, hold it steady, guys. Wake does beat Florida State, it would appear. Cincinnati to take on Marquette. Dave Sims, Larry Conley will be coming up with that game. Sports Center to follow. And it's out to the West Coast for Arizona State and Cal. You look at the remaining schedule for both of these teams, beginning with Wake Forest. Now, it is a difficult road for them. I mean, Duke's got revenge on their mind.
Right.
They had a chance to be #1 had they not lost that game to Wake Forest. Maryland has been struggling a bit of late. Georgia Tech needs to get hot. That game is on ESPN. Over on the other side, Florida State. Now, granted, they'll probably lose this game, but they could win the next 3.
It's still undecided. It's still right up in the air. And whoever can put together a good streak amongst these teams in the second half of the division is going to have a chance to make a run during the ACC tournament and then possibly get into the big tournament.
The problem for the ACC and the SEC this year is that there are so many other teams out of the Great Midwest, the UABs that haven't been there in a while. St. Louis, a dominant team, ranked top 25. These are spots that used to go to the 5th team out of the ACC.
Excellent call, Tim.
The 5th team out of the SEC.
As usual, you are painting the picture with the broad canvas.
Well, you know, it's never too early to start talking about the dance.
You're right. We're only about 4 weeks away from teams being selected. 4 weeks away, I'm sorry.
Another rejection. Boy, Duncan coming up big in this game. 5 blocks for Tim Duncan. And you'd forget about him because of the play of Childress. Smith, Duncan, Wallace, all freshman centers. And you don't hear as much about him, and he's even got a quiet demeanor while dominating on the floor.
That's part of his youth. He's not even 18 yet. Won't be 18 until May. But those numbers, other than the blocks, really don't jump out at you. But his presence certainly has helped Wake Forest win this ball game tonight. Surely Childress will get the headlines, and rightly so. He had a huge game offensively, but you need everybody doing what they can do, and certainly Tim Duncan with those 5 blocks and good work inside. Only
5 points away from equaling his output in the first meeting between these two. Shepard knocks it in, and a quick timeout call by Florida State with just under 13 seconds remaining. Don't forget, it's Marquette and Cincinnati. Antonio Winfield of the Bearcats against Marquette. Boy, they play some outstanding defense.
They really do.
Those Warriors are something else on the defensive end.
Yeah, they've got a nice little point guard, Tony Miller. Doesn't score a lot, distributes the ball. Damon Key, a good, solid inside presence. Should be an excellent game.
They made Gail Catlett's team look really ugly over the weekend. And, you know, West Virginia just asked Temple about the Mountaineers.
Sure.
Began the evening talking about guards and three-point shooting, and that says it all. 61% tonight. But this is a team, and all smallish teams are this way, Clark. You have to shoot well against the good competition, or you're going to lose.
You got to stroke it from the perimeter, especially when you don't have size, like you said, because you're not going to get as many opportunities in tight.
And he did it better than anyone tonight. Flint Hill Prep, Clinton, Maryland, Randolph, Childress, and Bobby Sura fought hard. His baskets usually rely on some banging when you take it down into the paint. He got to the line a few more times, but did not measure up against Childress.
Boy, that was close to 5.
James Collins picks it up. Nice to see Sura go over and shake Randolph Childress's hand. There'll be another day. You know, Sura sometimes is unfairly criticized, I think, based on shot selection. Early in the season, particularly without Ward, who else was going to take the shots? He had to.
Yeah, exactly. I think part of it is the role you're thrust into in terms of what your team needs, and he probably tried to do a little too much, but at the same time, he felt like he needed to, and he's got the kind of ability where he can make plays, and was in a position sometimes where he appeared to be forcing things.
Hey, no Dobard, no Douglas Edwards. A little different this year.
A lot different.
Yeah. Sura knocks in a three-pointer, and the quick timeout called with under 6 to play. That's the last timeout Florida State can call.
Well, I really think if Florida State would have gone to the man-to-man maybe a little earlier. Again, hindsight is always pretty close to perfect vision, but they waited quite a long time before they decided to turn it up defensively. And they were able to make a little run, get back in it when they turned it up, but just too little too late, and then Childress took over. But I just thought they were a little too passive from the start and for much of the game in their 2-3 zone.
Particularly in the first half when they allowed the 9 for 15. But these are two teams. We were talking about Florida State losing the Dobards and the Douglas Edwardses of the world, but you know, Wake Forest is a team. I mean, they're thinking about Maktar Njai at the beginning of the year. He's now at Michigan. Ricardo Peral from Spain, who was ruled ineligible. They thought they might have him. And if you think about it, it's possible that they still could have had Rodney Rogers. He went out early. So, I mean, for them, it was a real difficult scenario. And had it not been for the unexpected play of Tim Duncan,
Oh, my.
I mean, they would really be in trouble this year.
They certainly would be. Gives them a nice little twosome between he and Trelawney Owens inside.
There's Duncan. Ward will ride Childress and pick up his 5th foul. Randolph Childress loves seeing the Seminoles. Charlie Ward will leave the game, and as he does so, congratulate Randolph Childress. Heisman Trophy winner knows he was beaten tonight by a magnificent guard who was on his game from the perimeter, Randolph Childress.
Hey, do you think there's too much fraternization between opposing players? I mean, I can understand a congratulatory handshake, but sometimes I think it goes a little far. I mean, you're the opposition. You're the enemy. And sure, a lot of these guys are friends, and I understand that, but hey, I think about when I played, it was business, and sometimes you talk to the other guys, sometimes you didn't.
I guess it's a new generation, Clark. I guess to sum it up, we're old now. Right?
Oh, you're just glad to lump me in with you.
That'll do it. Ball game is over. Davy Odom's club now 5-4 in the ACC as they get the win tonight. Randolph Childress, a tremendous performance for Clark Kellogg. This is Tim Randall for our entire crew. So long to the studio in Chris Valley.